Men of Reddit, what do women do that they think is okay but is actually creepy? Story 1. Perving on men. So many times in the workplace I have heard women say what they would like to do to a certain man. Almost drooling in public. If a man said the same comments, they would be fired. Story 2. Speaking possessively about their male friends and claim man that they see. Most often when they think men can't hear. Story 3. You break up a relationship and your friends proceed to come at you like angry mobs for it. Story 4. I've had this happen a few times, but I don't know if it is more common or less common. When I go to a bar for a drink on, say, a Friday night, I usually go with friends. I'll head to the bathroom, and sometimes the bar will be crowded, so I'll have to slip through a group of people. Several times I'll get rubbed or caressed by women. Sometimes on the groin, sometimes on the chest or shoulders. It's not wanted, nor am I signaling I want to be touched, just saying excuse me and going past. It bothers me every time. That's incredibly f***ed up. I don't know how anyone, male or female, would find this to be appropriate behavior. Story 5. Touching me when you're a complete stranger. I'm in really good shape, and the amount of women who would touch my arms, shoulders, and chest when I'm out was too high. Story 6. Not exclusively a woman thing, but my ex would screenshot our text conversations and send them to her family and friends for reaction. Like mundane conversations, not even anything interesting. It felt like a very creepy violation of my privacy. Also, she was an idiot. Hope you see this, Laura. Story 7. Not creepy, but when a woman sees a single dad with his kid and feels it's okay to tell them they're doing great. I get they may feel like they're being supportive or whatever, but the stigma behind guys not knowing how to raise a child is infuriating. I have 50-50 custody of my child, and she's raised brilliantly by both me and her mum. I can guarantee mum never gets random praises just for walking through a shop with our child, though. It's not supportive, it's condescending as hell, and please stop. Edit. I've seen a few comments about accepting compliments. My daughter is an absolute delight and always gets genuine compliments from passers-by. These I take with pride and a smile. The problem is from the people who approach in shock to see a dad alone with his kid and think he's either babysitting or just lost without a woman to tell him how to raise his kid and needs a patronizing pat on the back. Edit 2. Just to clarify, I always respond with a smile and thank you regardless of the way I'm approached. I'm not raging mad about this at all. Story 8. Honestly, hands down, women who exploit emotions of men. We may not all cry in the movie theatre, but we are not incapable of experiencing deep, painful emotional wounds. In general, it seems to be more acceptable for women to rag on guys for our image, like our height, weight, or income, while the flip side being that men cannot criticize women without being a pig. So yeah, women who nitpick guys for superficial reasons are creepy, arrogant, and covered with more red flags than a game of Minesweeper. Story 9. I have a friend that whenever she starts dating a guy, just lists me off thing about the dude like she's listing a resume. Never anything about the personality or sense of humor or what characteristics about them she enjoys. It's job, career, college, earnings, house. I had to tell her it was getting creepy because it just sounds like she's getting a checklist to impress people, not find a good person for her. Story 10. This is only really for the gay men out there, I think, but having a girl instantly label you as her gay best friend as soon as she finds out you're gay. Like, bitch, I don't even like you. Story 11. Setting up traps to test us. Being upset with something we did, said in your dreams. Lying to our faces when we ask direct questions like, what is wrong? How are you? Etc. Edit. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. Seems I hit a few nerves with this comment, all of which have affected us in different ways. Story 12. This happened like 3 times in high school. Girls call you attractive as their way of calling you ugly, you know? Like some weird sarcasm reverse psychology thing. One of those times 2 girls were walking behind me in the hallway. One taps on my shoulder so I turn around and she says, she thinks you're cute. Then the other girl said, she wants to f*** your dick. I just told them I have a girlfriend because 1, I do, and 2, I know what they're doing, and I walked faster. Story 13. Maintain a relationship with our mom even after the breakup. This man is not playing around. Story 14. Maybe not creepy, but if I stop pulling on my beard and arm hair. Like, that's seriously uncomfortable, and pulling out a beard hair stings like fuck. It's literally attached to my face. You are in my personal space, tugging my hair and causing me a little pain. Ladies, I don't care how fun it is, please stop or I'll make fun of your eyebrows. Story 15. Went out with a group of guys last weekend. There were 6 of us, and this random girl started hanging around us like a lost puppy, and just wouldn't leave. She was attractive, but so obviously desperate for attention that none of our group of guys really cared to give her any. This girl was just looking at everyone, batting her eyes and trying to hug everyone, but the guys were just pawning her off on each other. Not sure if this is pathetic more than creepy, but if a guy did the same thing, he'd be labeled with creepy. So yeah, she was creepy to me. I honestly thought she was or something trying to sell services or some The way she was approaching dudes. It's not normal. Story 16. This might be a cultural thing for Latinos, but there were some weird comments said by female family members to my son when he was a toddler. They would call him my boyfriend and ask for kisses in a very aggressive way. When I changed his diapers, they'd stand around and say, "De quién es ese pipí?" which roughly translates to, "Whose is that?" which led me to always change his diaper in a private room, even when told that, "You can do it here, it's okay. We're all family." One of my aunts even commented on how his has grown since he was a baby. Yeah, his whole body has grown. There's no need to talk about his specifically. Step away from my child. I guess this is all done in a cute or innocent way, but I never liked it. Story 17. Failing to realize that sometimes free time needs to be me time and shouldn't automatically be she time. Story 18. You have to install this GPS tracking app on your phone so I know where you are anytime I want to check. That's a serious trust issue, yes, it is annoying. Story 19. Comment on my new girlfriend's post. I'll add a little bit more backstory. Me and the old girlfriend who had a bad breakup, I broke up with her because I was tired of the routine, tired of dealing with the standards that she held me. To be honest, I wanted to be cut loose, so I cut myself loose. She got a boyfriend quickly after. I just did my own thing. Before me and the new girl started dating, she was doing this. I was blocked on every social media and on my messages itself. I believe she was just trying to be passive-aggressive. Story 20. A few of my relationships have ended because my GFS wouldn't talk to me about an issue in our relationship, which is weird, because supposedly that's a male trait. I just don't like confrontation. Well, the alternative is that I'm breaking up with you now because you've avoided talking to me about the issue for a few months when I keep trying to bring it up. So, edit. To everyone asked, how is this creepy? It's not. I wrote this on 4 hours of sleep. I thought this was just a what do girls do in relationship that's ending. Type 3'd funny how I got gilded though. Never been gilded for being so off topic before. Story 21. Unwanted physical contact. Was out to dinner with a bunch of friends. Coincidentally, they were all women. And the waitress was hitting on me, which involved obvious compliments, which I don't care about, and putting her hands all over my shoulders and upper chest. We all had a laugh about it after, but I was seriously weirded out by it, and were the genders reversed, I guarantee no one would have been laughing about it. Story 22. I'd wager that most women wouldn't do this and wouldn't think this is okay, but my now ex-girlfriend went through my phone without asking for permission. Story 23. As a gay guy, women seem to think that it's okay to touch me, in a general way, and sometimes even in a more inappropriate way. Lady, I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are. Sure, we had a nice brief conversation, but don't touch me. Don't wrap your hands around my legs so you can gawk at the size of my legs. Don't squeeze my pec or think that I want a hug despite never having met you before. I am avoiding physical contact not only to be respectful of your boundaries, but because I also have boundaries I don't want you to violate. Consent works both ways. Always. Don't touch me. Story 24. Ex demanded I take down of a single picture of a platonic female friend who I have known over a decade and who is happily married to a mutual friend of ours. Said picture was part of a cluster of 8 total. The other 7 pictures were just group pictures of said platonic friend and mostly other male friends. Story 25. Straight girls who go to gay bars to be all like Yas Queen Uwu, and straight girls who go to lesbian bars and get offended when a girl hits on them. Edit. Thanks for the upvotes, and I know what rip inbox means now. Edit 2. I'm on Redify. Love that for me. Story 26. The way girls share really personal things about guys in relation to sex. Society and the media would have you believe that guys talk about sex all the time and just objectify the women that they've slept with. I don't know if maybe I'm just hanging out with the wrong people, but honestly the most you usually get out of a guy is just that they had sex with a girl. And the only time we discuss details are when you're just like trading stories. But girls tend to like immediately report on things to their friends, and share details that honestly could be embarrassing or uncomfortable for the guy. It makes me really uncomfortable and creeped out to think that if I sleep with a girl's, I have to just accept that all of her friends are going to know every detail about the experience. Size, performance, how long it lasted, how I look. It just feels like a huge breach of privacy. Story 27. The admin assistant in my office tells me to smile at least once a week when I walk past her desk. Go yourself. Oh, sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays. Story 28. Wife bragged to friends about our life. We live in a small town, and now it feels like everywhere I go, I'm being giggled and smiled at. It's really violating. Story 29. Late to the party, but I haven't seen this mentioned yet. Distributing they get from guys to their friends without permission. I've caught several women doing it, and they'll argue about it if asked to stop. Yet another example of it only being an issue if the genders are reversed. Story 30. Glamorizing the male body at work or in other non-casual situations. I've had coworkers speculating about the size of other coworkers' genitals in front of me, talking about scenes of favored actors, talking about marital aids, etc. If a guy was similarly casual about sex, it would be considered highly inappropriate, but women seem to get away with it as innocent fun. Story 31. Being hypocritical about sexism. Hear about guy hitting girl. What an asshole. Hear about girl hitting guy. Well, what did he do? Older man hitting on much younger woman. What a creep. Older woman hitting on much younger man. You get it, girl. Making small jokes. Funny. Making fat jokes about men. Funny. Making short jokes about men. Funny. Making any jokes about a woman's appearance. Super not okay. Story 32. Always asking if I got flirted with, no matter where I go. Did anyone flirt with you? What the hell? It's flag football. Who would flirt with me at flag football? Story 33. I'm a straight woman, but I shared an office with a woman like this. Every time she found out some guy was gay, she immediately said this. I just wanted to scream at her that gay people aren't stereotypes. The whole gay marriage Supreme Court thing was happening around that time. And she didn't understand why gay people could stay married since she only saw them party at clubs and just have flings with different people. She didn't know any in long-term relationships. I had to explain to this grown woman that straight people are the same way. Some don't want a relationship and just want flings with different people, and some want to have long-term relationships and get married. I hope she understood, but it really felt like she just saw LGBT people as caricatures and not as real people. Story 34. Being addicted to social media, mostly Instagram. Like the worst one is, my phone is never on quiet, and anytime any notifications appears, she looks at it, no matter what you were talking about. And then, even if one has better manners, like having the phone on silent and can be without it for the first hour of the dinner, then dessert comes and I have to go pee. I come back, she scrolling, commenting, posting, everything, and acts like I am interested in what someone comment and spends the rest of the night with her phone in her hands. I read through most of the comments and I cannot believe I haven't found this. This has become so common in Central and Western Europe. Story 35. Trying to isolate us from friends, especially other women, and prioritizing her emotional needs over everybody else in our lives. It's under the guise of wanting to develop a bond and get to know us better, but if you're paying attention, you can tell what's really going on. And also, having gone through copious amounts of domestic violence training at work, both as a requirement for employment and as part of the job since I record training, it is painfully obvious that this is something men do all the time to control women. Most of this thread consists of things which aren't limited by gender. Story 36. Bartender here. My general creepy experiences are with middle-aged women. They seem to think that they can say, attempt to touch, and do anything they want, especially at bachelorette parties. Bachelor parties are always just a group of guys drinking whiskey or scotch in suits, talking and laughing a bit. Bachelorette parties are a group of women with every shaped thing they could purchase, loudly harassing the staff of any place they enter. One of my least favorite experiences was a bachelorette group of middle-aged women who asked to take a picture with me because they had a picture scavenger hunt and a man in uniform was on the list. Seemed harmless enough, and I wasn't too busy, so I agreed. After the 5 of them are around me, they start to say stuff like, you know, another item is Stranger's D, and start laughing and tugging at my belt from about every direction. I had to physically shove one of them out of the way to get out of that. And then they proceeded to act like I was an a-hole doing so. I freaking hate bachelorette party. Story 37. I dated a girl who was overly sensitive to word choice. Case in point. One Saturday morning, I was out running errands. It was a beautiful day, and I texted, "It's going to be a great day." She called me crying because when you say, "It's going to be a great day," it puts too much pressure on me to have a great day. Now I'm crying. All I could think was, what the hell? We ended up breaking up because it was a Thursday, which had become our date night, and I was going to go to her place. She started crying and broke up with me because I assumed we were going to see each other that night. Story 38. Perhaps not creepy, but I went to a metal concert to which I had planned to go alone. My girlfriend then suggested one of her female friends to go with me. I was relatively indifferent and just said, yeah, as long as she likes the music, why not get to know the people you spend time with? Fast forward 1 week. During the concert, my girlfriend gets jealous of the friend she herself invited to go with me, calls me constantly, asks if I made out with her friend and friend to break up. I was hard-pressed not to laugh. The plan seems to have been to send someone to keep me under a lens, which backfired an account of the next layer over trust issues. Story 39. As a woman, I get pissed to another woman basically treat men like crap, hit them and insult them, but whenever it happens to them, they start playing a victim card. Also, I really hate that whole wife has to keep her husband in check at all times philosophy. This is why men see marriage as a life sense, rather than simply making their bond with their loved ones stronger by becoming family. Story 40. Ghosting. If this didn't become mainstream in the dating scene recently, there would be a lot more missing person reports fled by men who thought their dates literally disappeared without a trace. This is the stuff of 80s horror movies. FYI, ghosting is not an acceptable way to deal with most men. I get that there are perks that need to be ignored for peace of mind, but there are a few of those men compared to the number of times my friends or I have been ghosted. Ghosting gives man anxiety, depression, leaves whatever problem you had with him to do it to his next date, makes men resent you. If you don't like a guy, tell him that and tell him why. You're doing society a favor. Story 41. Being overly eager to share certain personal details with each other like, look at my boobs, is one noticeably bigger than the other? Also, an ex who I had maintained a friendship with for a short time after the breakup. We would still talk once in a while. She called me and asked if I wanted to hang out. I said, sure, I'm at home, come over whenever. And she replied, okay, I'm already outside. I didn't keep answering those calls for very long. Also, some girls that talk like children, baby talk, and think it's cute. I'm in my 30s. I don't want to feel like a pedophile, thank you. You're also in your 30s. And know how to speak properly. It's not cute, it's creepy. Story 42. I find it creepy when you've only been dating a woman for a few months, and they already start talking about marriage and having kids. But then, if you bring up not being sure about marriage or kids with them, yet they get deeply offended and start to think you don't love them. Story 43. Every girl I've ever been with has done this at one point or another. They even screenshot intimate texts and share them with all their friends. One of my exes even would casually share my private photos with their friends. She thought she was complimenting me because she was showing me off. I broke things off after that. Story 44. When I was 18-22, worked in restaurants. Some were pretty high-end. The amount of middle-aged women that would grab my face and say, "You've a lovely smile," or put their arm round my waist as I was clearing plates was honestly too high to count. Add to that they were half drunk after their wine, etc. Seriously imagine a 40-year-old half-drunk bloke grabbing a 20-year-old girl by the face and saying how lovely her smile was. Literal riots in the street. Story 45. Touch my ass without consent. Sometimes I'd just be performing my respiratory responsibilities, and I feel a slight touch to my and now I'm uncomfortable and confused because I'm too scared to turn around and find out who dared touch my precious bum. Story 46. Asking us if we want to buy them a drink. The last time I was out, a girl had asked me this and I felt disrespected. She was extremely attractive, but opening up a conversation by asking if I want to buy you a drink is not appreciative. It made me feel like she thought I was a buster or something. Not all of us like to spend money on random girls just for a chance to talk to them. Story 47. Acting like mental illness is a personality trait, such as, I'm sorry I said all those nasty things earlier, but I'm bipolar so it's okay and I didn't mean it. Edit. I should have been more clear at first. This is supposed to reference those who use their conditions as an excuse to continue saying or doing nasty things, or reference those who pretend to be bipolar just so they can say nasty things and have a net to catch themselves in if they are called out. Story 48. As a beefy dude, and I have also asked other dudes who work on their bodies or happen to be athletic body type, I have come across experiences of women feeling very entitled to make comments and even at chance get handsy. I am not going to play victim. I was not traumatized, but it is very uncomfortable. Drunk girls. I have been at places like concerts or amusement parks and have had girls find the way to bump onto my damn glutes, accidentally hold onto me or feel you at times. It may not be common, but it's certainly off-putting, and you are not going to places like amusement parks for this sort of interaction. Story 48. Sometimes women flirt with or stir it up with men and then hide behind the perception that men are the instigators to preserve their reputation. This is wrong on many levels. Ladies, and everybody else, please own your mistakes. Most recent example, a female friend and colleague of mine got drunk at a work function and got pretty handsy with me, even though we are both in serious non-open relationships. This was in front of our colleagues, who know our partners and could tell something was wrong, even if they didn't know the details. Later, people approached us and insinuated that I was acting inappropriately towards her, and she did nothing to correct the misperception. I know that due to the threat of sexual violence, women have it far worse than men in these kinds of situations. Also, I really believe that she's a good person who made a mistake, and now she's embarrassed and trying to avoid it. But ladies, if you think you might be f***ing up a male colleague's work or home situation, speak up and explain to your friends and other co-workers or even partners if that becomes necessary, that you are the one who f***ed up. I shouldn't be left with the decision of trying to decide how to fix your mistake, balancing your privacy against my reputation. Story 49. I find it creepy when you've only been dating a woman for a few months and they already start talking about marriage and having kids. But then if you bring up not being sure about marriage or kids with them, yet they get deeply offended and start to think you don't love them. Story 50. I had a woman walk up behind me while I was at the bar. She crouched down and, from behind, went through my legs with her arm and grabbed my junk, then ran it back through, sliding her hand from gooch to crack. I turned around and she says, "You're cute, buy me a drink." If I ever pulled something like that, I'd be on a national registry right now. She did not get a drink. Story 51. Cleaning my apartment when I leave them alone. To clarify, I had a few women in my younger years who, when they happened to be at my place and I needed to pop out for a couple hours, took it upon themselves to tidy up a bit while I was gone. Certainly felt more like snooping than anything else. Longer-term girlfriends fine, but not when we've only been on a few dates. Story 52. Hundreds and hundreds of selfies. There are so many women I know whose social media profiles, be it Instagram or Facebook, are so littered with selfies that are almost exactly replicas of each other, minus different clothing to the tune of hundreds. It's creepy and reeks of mental instability. Story 53. Treating men like trash and then justifying it with platitudes like something smashing the patriarchy. It's just cruelty, prejudice, and bigotry. It's no different from how abhorrently the right wing treats immigrants or Muslims or women, acting like all women are entitled to amazing sex with anyone they choose, but that men who are interested in sex are all automatically depraved, disgusting, rape-loving perverts. I am frustrated and exhausted from trying to get ostensibly progressive women to realize that just because we're men, it doesn't make us any less human than they are. Story 54. Not really creepy, but when women ask me how I'm doing, I respond generically with, "I'm okay," or "I'm fine," and they react with, "Just fine?" "Yes, just fine." "Carol, you gambling addicted you have 3 other people behind you and I don't want to talk." Story 55. And yay, just fine. I'm not clicking my heels while whistling and I'm not plotting to end myself. What's wrong with being just fine? Story 56. A coworker was the first person to do this, and she did it every time. Finally, I've had it. "Hey Boosh, how are you?" "Hey, I'm fine." "Just fine?" Looks at her. Well, I was. Holds stare for another beat and walks away. Last time, she did that. I'm surprised that worked. Story 57. Touching. ESP being gay. Women cannot for the life of them stop touching us, and in ways that are super inappropriate. Running their fingers through our hair, touching the beard, rubbing our arms, backs, chest, etc. They will even grab our junk because I just wanted to see if it was big. It's okay, you're gay. No, it's not okay, do not touch me. Seriously, I am at the point where if I encounter a group of straight girls, I walk away. I will not go out with women from work. I will always put someone between myself and any woman when we are out as a group. It's a big problem and not cool at all. If I would touch women the way they touch me, I would be in jail by now. Let's also talk about being your GBFF. I am gay, but I am a dude and I don't want to be your best friend. I like to sit in my sweats, eat pizza, and play video games like a lot of dudes. I don't want to go shopping with you, critique your hair, makeup or clothes, decorate your house, or go to gay bars with you. I don't go to gay bars, or bars period. I hate drag with a passion, so stop trying to get me to cross-dress or watch RuPaul with you. I don't want to talk about your BF troubles. I just met you. I do not want to come on a girls' night. I am not one of the girls. I am a man. I don't want to drink Cosmos and gossip or play those mean girl games you adore. Seriously, when you are a gay man, straight women are the worst. Okay, now seriously. Story 58. Act like they're into you, flirt with you, and tell mutual friends that they're attracted to you, knowing full well you'll hear about it, then play hard to get when you ask them out. One girl played this bullshit with me for weeks. Then she got pissed after I didn't keep trying to pursue her when she turned me down flat. Not any hint of she would think about it, or maybe some other time. I got a flat, no, not interested. I didn't get a thank you for asking, no soft letdown, nothing but no. I stated my case, pointed out all good things we had in common, and asked her if there was a reason why, and she said no reason. I'm just not interested. I was pretty pissed off and confused since we hit it off really well and had a lot in common. Her best friend was married to a work buddy of mine, and his wife even told me she was waiting for me to ask her out. I left the party we were at and didn't bother calling her anymore. I didn't see the point, she said no, and left no possible options for anything else. A few weeks go by and I ran into her again. She lays into me for not calling her, and told me that I should have kept trying. She was just playing hard tough get. I told her I wasn't in junior high school. I didn't play mind games. I was an adult, and I didn't appreciate her pulling that with me. You were playing impossible to get, not hard to get. No means no, not keep calling me. She told me she really wanted to go out with me, and I greatly enjoyed telling her no, not interested. She left crying her eyes out and acting like it was all my fault. Less than a year later, she got married to another work friend of mine. I warned him she would with his head, but he didn't care. She turned out to be quite the head case. She wreaked so much hell, hate, and discontent, she cost him his job. Story 59. Talks about actors openly. At the movie theater for Avengers, a startling number of women talked pretty openly about which Avenger they'd want to have sex with and what they'd do with them, etc. On its own, it did not bother me at all, but I couldn't help but realize that if it was reversed, and it was men talking about female actors, it would have been pretty gross and way beyond the pale for what is acceptable. This is not a complaint about the double standard. I don't mind that they did this at all and don't judge these women for being attracted to these very attractive superstars. But the literal descriptions would have sounded really rapey if the roles were reversed. I think people would have been disgusted in that situation, whereas in this one it was the opposite. Passers-by were basically like, at one point. There is a lot of false equivalency here where people think this is unfair, but I don't. But it would have undoubtedly creeped out people if it were gender swapped.